Okay, picture this. You've got this 40-pound granite stone, and it's just gliding down a long sheet of ice. You see two players sweeping like mad right in front of it. Their movements are so fast but so precise. And then you've got another player at the far end shouting directions. So what's going on here? Is this just giant shuffleboard on ice, or is there something way deeper happening? Let's get into it.
You know, people often call this sport chess on ice. And that's really the big question we're going to tackle. How in the world did a game that, from a distance, looks so simple get a reputation for having this incredibly deep, complex strategy? Well, to figure that out, we've got to go way, way back.
So the story of curling actually starts on the frozen lochs and ponds of Scotland, way back in the 16th century. And the earliest real proof we have is this curling stone they found in a drained pond in Dunblane, Scotland. And get this, it had the date 1511 carved right into it. Back then, it was just a simple pastime, played with rough old river stones. A totally different world from the polished granite we see today.
And from those really humble beginnings, the sport started to get more organized, little by little. By 1716, you had the very first club form, which gave the game a real community. Then, in 1838, the first official rules came out, which standardized how everyone played. And that long, long journey all led up to 1998, when curling officially became a medal sport at the Winter Olympics, finally showing off its unique drama to the entire world.
So how is it played? Well, it all starts with the ice, which, believe it or not, isn't flat at all. The playing surface, they call it the sheet, is actually sprayed with these fine water droplets that freeze into tiny bumps. This texture is called pebble. And this pebbled surface is absolutely crucial because it reduces friction and lets the stones glide, and most importantly, lets them curl.
Now, at the far end of that sheet is the target, and it's known as the house. It's basically a big bullseye, and the goal is pretty simple. Get your stones closer to the center, the button, than your opponent's stones. Only the stones that end up inside this house are actually able to score points. And what about the stone itself? I mean, this is amazing. Each one weighs around 40 pounds and is made of a very specific, super rare type of granite. For decades, the granite for pretty much all high-level competition stones has been mined from just two places in the entire world. The most famous one is a tiny, uninhabited island off the coast of Scotland called Ailsa Craig. Isn't that wild? The throw, which they call the delivery, is this motion of incredible grace and precision. A player pushes off from a foothold called the hack, and they lunge forward in this low, smooth slide. And right before they let go, they give the handle just a slight turn. That's the magic moment. That's what gives it the curl, that slow, deliberate curve the stone takes as it travels down the ice.
And that, of course, brings us to the part of curling that everybody notices first, the sweeping, right? It looks so chaotic, but it is one of the most scientific and strategic parts of the game. So what is the point of all that frantic brushing?
Okay, so the intense friction from the brooms actually melts a microscopic layer of that pebbled ice right in front of the moving stone. This does two main things. One, it helps the stone travel farther, and two, it reduces how much the stone curls, which basically straightens out its path. It's a way to fine-tune the shot after it's already left the thrower's hand. This got so effective there was a whole Broomgate controversy back in 2015 over new fabrics that were almost too good and they had to bring in new rules.
All right, now we're getting to the real heart of the strategy. The single most important tactical piece in all of curling is having the hammer. That's the last stone thrown in an end, which is kind of like an inning or a round. And just like in chess, having the final move gives you this massive advantage because you get to react to everything your opponent just did.
So a team strategy usually boils down to one of two main approaches. An aggressive team will play what are called draw shots. These are designed to gently slide into the house and just stop, cluttering up the scoring area to set up a big score. But a more defensive team, they'll focus on takeout shots, throwing with more speed to just knock their opponent's stones right out of play and keep things wide open. The choice you make often depends entirely on who has the hammer.
But modern curling strategy was completely, and I mean completely, reshaped by one brilliant rule change. It's called the free guard zone. This rule is the reason the game doesn't just become a boring series of takeout shots. Here's how it works. The rule itself is actually pretty simple. For the first 5 stones thrown in any end, you are not allowed to hit an opponent's stone out of play if it's sitting in that specific area in front of the house. You can bump it, sure, but you can't completely eliminate it. So why? Why does this rule exist? Why protect these specific stones, which are called guards, so early in an end?
Well, the answer really gets to the core of what makes curling so darn strategic. It's there to make the game more exciting. Simple as that. Before this rule, a team with the lead could just play defense, hitting every single one of their opponent's stones out of play. It worked, but man was it boring to watch. The free guard zone guarantees that stones will stay in play, forcing teams to navigate a cluttered sheet and set up these complex, beautiful shots around those protected guards. It forces that chess on ice thinking.
But you know, beyond all the strategy, there is this unique culture that just defines the sport. It's known as the spirit of curling, and it's this unwritten code of honor and respect that is every bit as important as the official rules. So what does that spirit actually look like? Well, players will genuinely congratulate their opponents on a great shot. They're expected to call their own fouls, like if they accidentally touch a stone with their broom. And get this, traditionally, after a tough game, the winners buy the losers a drink. It creates this level of camaraderie that you just don't see in most other professional sports.
So the next time you see that stone gliding down the ice, you'll know you're not just watching some game of shuffleboard, you're watching a 500-year-old game of physics, finesse, and foresight, where a single, perfectly placed stone can unravel an opponent's entire plan. It really truly is chess on ice. So what do you think? Is it the most strategic and maybe the most polite sport on ice?